Let's do this. Hello, people. Another beautiful day. Yep. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. Or excellent. What? What's up, gamers? Got an article here from neowin.net. Listen to this. Microsoft president says the UK was tough and fair when they first blocked Activision deal. Microsoft president says the UK was tough and fair when it first blocked Activision deal. But Phil Spencer said something earlier. He said something that Phil Spencer said that the deal was worth the deserved the pushback. Okay, the Activision Blizzard deal was deserved the pushback. So you got the president of Microsoft now, and Phil Spencer's saying the same thing. So in other words, they have to earn it. Okay, and they did. Anyway, listen to this. Says here, in April 2023, the UK Competition and Market Authority blocked Microsoft's plan to buy Activision Blizzard, claiming such a deal would reduce competition in small but growing gaming space. At the time, Microsoft President Brad Smith did an interview for BBC stating the UK CMA decision was bad for Britain, and added, the European Union is a more attractive place to start a business than the United Kingdom. It says here, however, Microsoft decided to make some changes to its Activision Blizzard deal, and that allowed the CMA to approve the agreement, and for Microsoft to finally close the purchase of the game publisher. Now, Smith said in an interview with BBC that the initial rejection of the deal might have been a good thing. Says here, Smith now says the CMA was tough and fair when it first blocked the deal. He added, he says it pushes Microsoft to change the acquisition that we had proposed for Activision Blizzard to spin out a certain right that the CMA was concerned about with respect to cloud gaming. Smith is referring to the fact that Microsoft is giving cloud gaming publishing rights off and current future rights off current and future Activision Blizzard games over to Ubisoft for the next 15 years. Smith stated that the approval of this revamped deal by the CMA vindicates its position, and added, I think that it is good for everyone. Says here, then it says here, while Microsoft closed the deal to buy Activision Blizzard in the fall of 2023, the company is still dealing with the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, which claims the acquisition is still a threat to competition in the video game industry. In December 2023, Microsoft and the FTC made their case for and against the deal, respectively, to the United States Court of Appeal for the Ninth Circuit in San Francisco. It may be several months before we get a decision from the appeals court. And that is the end of the article. Good article on neowin.net. Okay. Alright, look. Phil Spencer first said that the deal deserves some pushback, right? Now, Microsoft president, because Phil Spencer is the head of the gaming division, Microsoft president now says now the UK was tough and fair when it first blocked the Activision deal. Okay, so now going down in this article, when we look at this, there's a thing that caught my attention. It says Microsoft. It says here, Microsoft plan to buy Activision Blizzard, claiming such a deal would reduce competition in the small but growing cloud gaming space. Stop right there. Okay, you have the first the FTC was talking about the lesson of competition, right? The lesson of competition is one. But now you got Microsoft plans to buy Activision Blizzard, they're claiming that such a deal would reduce competition. You have the lesson of competition, reduce competition, but then you're going back and saying now in a small but growing cloud gaming space. Look, I told you guys this before. Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard does not stop the video game industry from growing, right, or expanding, okay? And the video game industry is always growing. Now, this article talks about a small but growing space. So, if you're claiming that Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard reduce competition, that's from the CMA standpoint. But then from the FTC, it's the lesson of competition. But then you're coming back and then you're saying that it's a reduced competition in the small but growing cloud gaming space. That doesn't add up. That doesn't add up, because you can't say it's the lesson of competition, a reduced competition. It's small, but it's growing. That means that Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard does not stop the video game industry from growing, like I've been saying. Now, to go down now, to say that it was tough and fair, Phil Spencer said it first, that the deal deserved some pushback. Now, when it comes to the CMA now, comes to the FTC, to the FTC. First, Microsoft had to, they gave the streaming rights to Ubisoft. But when this thing started off, it just had hope. It had Chile, Serbia, Brazil, and who else? It was Chile, Serbia, Brazil. And I think there was one more. There was just four. It was just 98% of the shareholders. You had the employees back all in on the deal, and you had 75% of the public. But you had four countries. So now, as the case went on, more countries got involved, and Microsoft, while more countries was getting involved, Microsoft was sitting there giving out 10-year contracts, to cloud streaming service. So Microsoft giving out 10-year contracts, it doesn't lessen competition. You're not leaving anybody out. The FTC, they lost in court. The judge gave the FTC 8 reasons why, not 10, why they lost the case. First they try to make this about a high performance console market. But we've been having high performance console since console gaming started. Every console that came out for that generation was and is a high performance console. right? Then the FTC removed Nintendo from the picture. Then you're saying Microsoft is not being transparent enough. Okay, Microsoft's in there giving you information. The judge gave you 8 reasons. So now you're back at it. So now it's like, okay, you're asking the FTC, okay, what are you trying to prove here? So now the Ninth District now, they're going to use the judge's decision to make their decision. But also, the Ninth District now is looking at everything now. Looking at the 98% of shareholders that supported the deal. Looking at the 75% of the public. Looking at the 4 countries that started out when the deal started. Looking at the 4 countries that supported Microsoft, but then looking at the overall countries that really supported them on this. And the Ninth District is looking like, okay, looking at the European Commission's decision. They're looking at the CMA's decision. They're looking at the European Commission's decision. They're looking at the CMA's decision, and they're going to make a decision. But right now, the FTC right now is like they're caught between a rock and a hard place, and it's like they're stuck in quicksand because they're left. Basically, they're standing on their own right now because Microsoft has so much in their favor right now. They have they got 98% of the shareholders. They got the employees, 75% of the public, and then they have countries that's involved, and then you got the European Commission, and now you got the CMA now. So the Ninth District now is just looking at this like, just looking at the FTC like, they're shaking their head like, you know, like why even come down this road, you know? Because if it's one thing, if the shareholders never agreed on the deal, if Microsoft had came to Activision and let's say Microsoft came to Activision and they wanted to make a purchase. If the 98% of the shareholders didn't, if they didn't agree to the deal, then there will be no deal. But once you got 98% of them out of 100, and then you got all the employees that's supporting this, and then you got countries, behind it. You got countries behind it. You got all that going for it. Then it's gonna be hard, you know, to win against that when you really look at it, you know. The FTC is caught between a rock and a hard place right now, because remember, it was the CMA and the FTC going at Microsoft. The European Commission already sided with Microsoft, but now the CMA now that Microsoft got Ubisoft involved, they're siding with Microsoft now. So now, where the FTC had support, they don't have it anymore. It's just them on their own. So now, the Ninth District is just sitting there looking at it like, looking at everything, top to bottom, and they're looking at the Federal Trade Commission like, shaking their heads like what, like, you know, it's like what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you trying to prove? You know, because you took Nintendo out the picture. That's one. You're saying Microsoft is not being transparent. That's two. Microsoft is in there trying to help you. And then you try to base this on a high performance console market. You lost, and then you got the judge now. Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley. She gave you 8 reasons, not 10, on why you lost the case. So now you're trying to go to appeals court now, hoping that the Ninth District is trying to help you. The Ninth District now is going to look at the judge's decision, and they're going to use that to make their decision. And then now they're looking at everything else, from the shareholders to the public to the countries. And then Microsoft even make it harder now. They gave out 10-year contracts all over the place. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and to beat that, man, it's going to be really tough, because the Ninth District is just probably shaking their heads like, what are you trying to prove here? And everybody's benefiting from the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal, and based on the contracts that Microsoft was giving out, you know? So the Ninth District is just like looking at the FTC, just shaking their heads. So yeah, Phil Spencer said, Sony and Nintendo is not our competitors. Okay. So once Game Pass was up off the ground and up and running, when they got ZeniMax Bethesda, okay, if Sony and Nintendo is not their competitors, okay, all right, then Microsoft know who the competitors were. Once Facebook name got mentioned in the Activision Blizzard case, and Facebook passed on it, and then Phil Spencer sitting here saying Sony and Nintendo is not our competitors. Okay, he looked down the road, seen who the competitors were. As soon as Activision Blizzard popped up, it was off to the races. Okay, because Activision Blizzard now is on a what? First come, first served basis. If Facebook is trying to buy Activision Blizzard, right? If Facebook is trying to buy Activision Blizzard, and they passed on it, and you know how much clout Facebook has as far as like money is concerned, and their position in the tech industry. If a company like that passes on Activision Blizzard, because maybe that's not their thing, and you're the first company, like a company like Microsoft, and everybody know who Microsoft is, and when it comes to Windows, and Microsoft know who are all the big tech companies out there with power, with money and power and all that. They were right for buying Activision Blizzard, so they had to jump at it before a company like, say, Amazon, Google, Tencent, even Comcast, even Disney. You know what I'm saying? They had to jump at it before somebody else did. So they were right for doing this. So to say now that this is the lesson of competition, or it reduces competition, it really didn't, because you can't come back in the article and said, oh, okay, you said where's this at? You say you can't say, oh, in the small but growing cloud game, it's small but it's growing. You can't say it reduces competition, it's the lesson of competition. You can't say it's small but then it's growing. Those two arguments is not adding up. So for the FTC now to say it's the lesson of competition, that argument is fake. It is fake. It's a fake argument. And then try to say, okay, this is based off of a high performance console market. That's a fake argument, because we've been having high performance console from the very beginning. From the very beginning of console gaming, every console that came out from the time console gaming started and up till present, every console that came out for that time, they were high performance consoles. So to say That's your argument, and then you're talking about, you're saying in the paragraph that, oh, it's the lesson of competition, it reduces competition, but then you're going to say in a small but growing cloud gaming space, that doesn't add up. You can't say it reduced and it's the lesson of competition. It reduced competition. The cloud gaming space is small, but it's growing. You cannot say that. Okay? You can't say that. So that argument right there is fake. So to me, when you really look at this as a whole, not just to me, but when you look at this as a whole, the FTC never had an argument. They never had a case. They never had one. Okay? I mean, no, they didn't do in-depth research. I would say they didn't do in-depth research on this. They didn't. They just, to me, they just rushed to judgment, man, and that is not that's not good, you know. You know, this the CMA on the other hand, you know, they gave Microsoft a challenge, you know, and then Microsoft had to change course and then get Ubisoft involved, okay, to reduce the tension. So that really helped a lot. So yeah, the deal did deserve some blowback, man. But you know, to me, you know, the FTC rushed to judgment a little bit on this. They did. You know, it reduces competition, the lesson of competition. But you're saying the cloud gaming space is small, but it's growing. Then if that's the case, then it can't be the lesson of competition, or it can't be the reduced competition. You know? So yeah, the argument that they came up with, it was fake, but you can see why the CMA was kind of trying to play, you know, make it tough on Microsoft. I guess they were trying to make sure that everybody's taken care of, you know. That's what I'm getting. But Microsoft did that now by giving out 10-year contracts to everybody. So yeah. But when it came to this, you know, Activision Blizzard deal, it was on a first come first serve basis, and Microsoft just beat everybody to it. They just jumped at it, you know, before any other company else did. Yeah. So anyway, right now the FTC is in appeals court by themselves, and the CMA and the European Union, they are done with this. They are still paying attention to it, but they're not going at Microsoft like they did before when they first bought the when Microsoft first bought the deal, bought Activision Blizzard. The CMA and the UK now, they're watching now. They're not in contact, like verbal contact anymore with Microsoft. It's the FTC that it's the FTC right now. They're in appeals court by themselves because they don't have the support of the CMA or the UK. The UK and the CMA are like this. They're out the way. It's just the FTC now. They're on their own in appeals court, and they have a lot of things working against them because when you look at what Microsoft just did, they look what they had. They had a support system. They had a support system behind them. I mean, you got the employees, the shareholders, the public. You had countries that's involved. But then you turn around and gave up. You gave out 10-year contracts. Then you got Ubisoft involved now, and that move reduces a lot of stress and tension. And then the CMA now They went for it. They got all that. Plus, they got the European Union siding with them now. It's just the FTC now. They're on their own in quicksand right now in appeals court. So yeah. But the question everybody's got to ask everybody, the question that everybody need to ask the FTC is, okay, what are you really trying to prove? Are you really trying to beat Microsoft? Why are you so adamant about beating Microsoft? You know, what you can't, if it's the less enough competition and the reduced competition in a small but growing market. They can't say that, so they're on their own right now, the FTC, because they don't have that support like they once had. Because when they were going at Microsoft at first, they had the CMA with them, and then the European Union sided with Microsoft. So now it's like if the FTC would have won in court, then the CMA was going to come down hard on Microsoft. But once the FTC lost in court, and now they're going to appeals court. Once they lost in court, that case, and then you got the European Union, now the CMA siding with Microsoft. It's tough right now, and the deal is closed too. Yeah, yeah. So they bit, to me, the FTC bit off more than they could chew. You know. It's like they thought they bit off more than they could chew, you know, and we'll see what comes of this. But right now, Microsoft jumped at this, at the Activision Blizzard deal before the competition could. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek thing, or Dark Section. Go.